The history of architecture in Singapore. Singapore, a small island nation in Southeast Asia, has a rich and diverse history of architecture that spans over 2 centuries. From traditional shophouses to modern skyscrapers, Singapore's architecture has been shaped by its cultural, economic, and political history. Early architecture, 1819 to 1867. The modern history of Singapore began in 1819 when Sir Stamford Raffles established a British trading post on the island. During this period, the architecture in Singapore was largely influenced by the British colonial style. Buildings were designed with classical facades, symmetrical layouts, and pitched roofs. One of the earliest examples of colonial architecture in Singapore is the Old Parliament House, built in 1827. This building features a neoclassical facade with a central portico and a symmetrical layout. Shophouse architecture, 1867 to 1942. In the late 19th century, Singapore experienced rapid growth and urbanization, leading to the development of shophouses. These narrow, 2- to 3-story buildings were designed for both residential and commercial use. Shophouses in Singapore were influenced by Chinese, Malay, and Indian architectural styles. They featured ornate facades, intricate carvings, and colorful tiles. The shophouses were also designed with a unique layout, featuring a shop or restaurant on the ground floor and residential units on the upper floors. One of the best examples of shophouse architecture in Singapore is the Tan Ting Nia House, built in 1900. This beautifully restored shophouse features a colorful facade, intricate carvings, and ornate tiles. Modern architecture, 1945 to 1980. After World War II, Singapore experienced rapid modernization and urbanization. This led to the development of modern architecture in Singapore, characterized by the use of concrete, steel, and glass. One of the earliest examples of modern architecture in Singapore is the National Theatre, built in 1963. This building features a distinctive roof design, inspired by the shape of a traditional Malay kite. In the 1970s and 1980s, Singapore experienced a period of rapid economic growth, leading to the development of modern skyscrapers. One of the most iconic examples of modern architecture in Singapore is the OCBC Centre, built in 1976. This 52-story skyscraper was one of the tallest buildings in Southeast Asia at the time of its completion. Contemporary architecture, 1990-present. In recent years, Singapore has experienced a surge in contemporary architecture, characterized by innovative and sustainable design. One of the most iconic examples of contemporary architecture in Singapore is the Marina Bay Sands, built in 2010. This 55-story skyscraper features a unique roof design, inspired by the shape of a sail. Another example of contemporary architecture in Singapore is the Gardens by the Bay, built in 2012. This park features stunning gardens, lakes, and sculptures, as well as innovative and sustainable architecture. Conclusion. The history of architecture in Singapore is a rich and diverse one, reflecting the country's cultural, economic, and political history. From traditional shophouses to modern skyscrapers, Singapore's architecture has been shaped by its unique history and context. As Singapore continues to evolve and grow, its architecture will likely continue to innovate and inspire. Timeline of architectural styles in Singapore. Early architecture, 1819 to 1867, British colonial style. Shophouse architecture, 1867 to 1942, Chinese, Malay, and Indian influences. Modern architecture, 1945 to 1980, use of concrete, steel, and glass. Contemporary architecture, 1990, present, innovative and sustainable design. Notable buildings in Singapore. Old Parliament House, 1827. Tan Ting Nia House, 1900. National Theatre, 1963. OCBC Centre, 1976. Marina Bay Sands, 2010. Gardens by the Bay, 2012.